Yeah. So hello everyone. So today this is the last talk up for DevHost 2023, and I am Deveesh Shetty. I will be taking this talk, and this is on promising with JavaScript. So yeah, in this will be a short talk, maybe about one hour. You can ask if you have any queries. You can ask regarding your like any JavaScript or any front end development. So basically, I'm a front end developer, and currently I'm exploring DevOps and cloud. So I have more experience in front end. So you can ask questions with that, React.js, Next.js, anything. So yeah, so promising with JavaScript for DevOps 2023. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, what is JavaScript? Many people here may be new to the term JavaScript. So JavaScript is a high-level language. High-level language in the sense like you can easily understand it, and you don't have to understand in a machine-level way. You can easily learn it like English, and you can write programs or in that. Okay, and then it is an interpreted language, which means it is done like line by line. There's a concept called as interpreter. So it is an interpreted language. Then another, the main thing, JavaScript is synchronous, blocking, and single-threaded. So now we may ask, here it says JavaScript is synchronous, but my session is about asynchronous JavaScript. How can it make sense? So yeah, as we move forward, it will make sense like how asynchronous JavaScript it is, like how JavaScript works asynchronously in the background. Synchronous means, so if I give you in a layman terms, synchronous means everything will execute one after the other. For example, there is line 1, line 2, line 3 till line 100. So it will go like that only. First line 1 will get executed, then line 2, line 3, line 4, then at the end line 100. There will be no randomness. Okay, which means synchronous. It goes step by step, one after another. Then blocking. Blocking means, for example, just imagine a situation. I have 100 lines of program in which I am executing from top to bottom. So first it starts from line 1. Then imagine at line 10, there's a very complex logic which will take around 5 seconds to just execute. So what will happen when it comes from line 1 till 10, it will execute fast. Then at line 10, it will stop for 5 seconds because that line 10 is taking a long time. In that 5 seconds, the code which is below line 10 also won't get executed. Imagine the code below from line 11 till line 100 just executes in 1 second. But because of that line 10, which takes 5 seconds, the code has to wait 5 more seconds. So that means it is blocking the execution of the further code. So that's the problem which arises in synchronous. Okay. So for that, we will be using asynchronous technique so that, yeah, I will tell about it more. So what happens? So now the line 10 is executed for after 5 seconds. Then other lines are executed in 1 second. So the total time will taken for executing the program is around 6 to 7 seconds. Just imagine like that. Then single threaded. So if you have learned threading in like OOPS or something in your previous SCEMs, so JavaScript is a single thread so that it can execute only one instruction at a time. Okay. So that's about like JavaScript in a very overview, like the tip of the iceberg. Then another question which many people ask is JavaScript same as Java? Okay. So let's see one analogy. So well, Java and JavaScript are like car and carpenter. So which means like Java and JavaScript just sound similar, but they are completely different. Java is mainly used for maybe like backend kind of thing or any mobile app development, anything like JavaScript is for client-side rendering, server-side rendering, scripting, or any other work. It can also do app development also, that's different. So they are completely different languages in their own. So yeah, don't get confused with that. So yeah, so there is a meme here, like, yeah, so many people wish like there was multi-threading in JavaScript just to avoid all those. So like there are 3 rules: no wishing for death, no falling in love, and no bring back dead people. Then he asks like in JavaScript, which is not possible. I don't know why the devs are not doing that. Maybe it's complex. So yeah, but still now asynchronous behavior helps us even with the single thread. Okay. So yeah, before going into the asynchronous part, let's learn something called as a callback function. Okay, it's a callback function. A callback function is basically a function which is passed as an argument to another function. Okay, so that it will be executed after a certain event. Maybe it may be a click event or a mouse move event or anything, or any asynchronous operation. Maybe you are fetching data from the server or you are fetching data from somewhere. Okay, so after that, that function will get executed. Okay, so that is about callback. So callback, for example, just to, I can show you one example. Wait a minute, let me share my screen once. One second, I will share the screen to different tab. Yeah, so yeah, it is back. So I will show you one example for callback. So if you can see here, I have one pre-written example for callbacks. Okay. So here we have a function called greet. It takes two argument. Yeah, I guess now it is visible. Okay, it takes two argument, event name and callback. So the event name is just a string which you are passing here. See, we have called a greet function here. I hope you know a little bit of JavaScript because this is little on the top of the side of the JavaScript thing. So yeah, so here we are passing string this thing DevHost 2023 a string as an argument to the greet function, which will be replaced by event name. Then we have another function called display greeting. So now if you see, this is already a function and we are passing another function in it. Okay, so we are passing a function inside a function. So this is basically a callback function. So we have named it as callback. You can name it as anything. You can name it your name as well. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I have written here as callback. Okay, so then this function, first this function is called, so this will get executed. So a message, this will get updated as welcome to this event name. This will replace by this DevHost 2023. And this message is passed to the callback function. Okay, so this callback function is now called. Okay, so this is basically this function, display greeting. So this function will be called, and what it will do, it will just console log the message which we did here. I know this program doesn't make sense. Like this is just a simple example to show the what you call the callback. Okay, but in future examples you can see more like usage of callback functions. So I will run this. Okay. Yeah, you can see here. I'll run again. 1 second. It is here. Welcome to DevHost 2023. You can see here. So what happened? Here the greeting was event name was passed. Yeah, to like by DevHost 2023, and here I can change it to anything. I can name it as DevHost 2024 also. It's same thing. See. Okay, so this is now what is the use of this? Okay, I can show you now. Example, I have another function. What it will do? This will be display greeting. I will name it as modified. Okay, then I will have a new message. Const message equal to same message. Same greeting. I will have greeting. Then I will append some string by SOSC. Okay, now I will console log this. So now instead of passing this function, I will pass this function. Okay. Now if I run, see, I will get welcome to DevHost 2024 by SOSC. This has been added because I changed the callback function which was getting passed to this main function. And another thing, a function which either takes a function as an argument or returns a function is called as a higher order function. So your greet is a higher order function. You will be using this in React. So yeah, just a thing to know. So this is about callback, just a brief example about callbacks. Okay, So callback, they seem pretty simple, but it can get messy as we proceed. So there's a concept called as callback hell. So what is the thing here? One callback we are doing. So imagine it is getting data from the server, and this is the data which you got from the server. Now we are passing it to another function called process data. Process data takes the data, and again it returns, like it takes another argument, which is the process data, this thing content which it has. So then it is passed to update UI. Update UI again has a what you call callback with no arguments. Then it goes to fetch more data. Like once the UI is updated, it fetches more data. Once it fetches more data, it again processes the data. Same thing. Now once it processes the data, it again updates the UI. See, it is really difficult to understand. Like even I get confused whenever I read this. So this was the problem which people are facing with callbacks, called as callback hell. So imagine something goes wrong here. It's very difficult to debug where it went wrong. You have to put console log everywhere. Then only you will get to know which function like stopped working. Or if you want to change something, you have to change everything. Now imagine if I want to remove this update UI from here. I don't want to update the UI after processing. I want to update it at the end. Now to remove this, I have to remove this entire line, then the content, then again this thing closing a parenthesis of this. So that's again a lot of work. Okay, so this is a callback hell. The main problem is you can't understand the code. Like it's really difficult to even analyze it and debug it. So how to overcome this? To overcome this, we have promises. So promise is basically a proxy for the value which we are getting. Okay. So a promise is a JavaScript object that represents the eventual completion or failure of an asynchronous operation and its resulting value. So object is just a proxy value, whether it tells like if the object fails, like the conditions or the fetching which we are doing, whether it fails or completes, value based on that. It's an asynchronous operation. See, asynchronous operation. So now how this asynchronous operation is going on, I will let you know in this future slides. So this is the thing. And next, for promises, if you see, there are 3 states. I will show you in code also, don't worry. So one is pending, which means I have like sent a request. It is still either it's not rejected yet and it's not fulfilled yet. It's still in a pending state. So it's like I can give you an analogy like imagine you sent your resume to your company. So now you are waiting till the company either accepts or rejects it. So it's in the pending state. Next is fulfilled. So now if the company accepts you, then the promise is fulfilled. Okay. Then if the company rejects you, the promise is rejected. So those are the basic 3 states, like pending, fulfilled, which is received, or rejected. Okay. So yeah, with this next, so we'll dive into a little code here. So this is just a simple promise example which I took. Okay. So this is how you create a new promise. I won't like go into more implementation part. It's just a talk on telling like how asynchronous JavaScript work and how you can utilize promises and other things. Okay. So this is the name of the promise, my promise. New promise, it's a constructor. So you're having a new object of that new promise. It takes a callback. See, this is a callback function. I guess you can see my mouse pointer. So this is a callback function. It takes 2 parameters, resolve or reject, which we discussed here. So resolved will be used when the promise is fulfilled. Reject will be used when the promise is rejected. Okay. So resolve or reject. So now here will be some asynchronous operation. It can be fetching data from database or either calling an API or doing some asynchronous task or anything. Okay. So imagine I called an API, then API gave me success response. So if it is success, I will resolve the promise, which means the promise is fulfilled. I got a success response from the API. So it will fulfill the promise with the result. Else, if it is not successful, it will reject it. Okay. Reject the promise with an error. So I will go into that code. I guess you can see my VS Code screen. Okay, so promise example. So this is a small example which I took for promise. Okay. So this is a function which is called fetch data. Okay. And in fetch data, we are returning a new promise. The same thing, the same syntax which I showed here. instead of using a variable, we are just returning it here. Okay, it does the same thing. So new promise, resolve or reject. You can name it res or reg, anything you want, but this is the standard, resolve or reject. Okay. So this, after this, we will be using set timeout. Set timeout, I will tell about it more. So what basically set timeout does is, just to tell you overview, it will now see, this is set timeout. I will show you the syntax. So set timeout syntax is like this. Set timeout. And okay, this is the simple set timeout syntax. So here, this is a callback function, a simple callback function. Okay, here the code will be executed which under the set timeout, and this 2000 means after 2000 milliseconds, in the sense 2000 seconds, after 2000 milliseconds, this set timeout code will be executed. Okay, so now this code which I have written here won't execute as soon as I run the code. It will execute after 2000 milliseconds, that is after 2 seconds. So there is same thing called as set interval as well. Okay, set interval. Same thing which I wrote, just I renamed it to set interval. So again, it takes a callback function, any code which will be inside it. Then it will take again the timer, and this time set interval means this code will run every 2 seconds. So once, imagine I have one thing called as console log hello world. So what will happen? Every 2 seconds, this thing will get printed. Okay, console log will get printed every 2 seconds. And in set timeout, what happens? .log. After 2 seconds, like once I execute the program, after 2 seconds, this will get printed. What will this do? It will print every 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds. After 2 seconds. So yeah, so we'll come back to the promise thing. So this is a set timeout. Inside this, we'll have one success variable. And just to have some randomness, we took a random value, math.random, and we are checking whether it's greater than 0.5 or less than 0.5. So what math.random does is, it will give you a random number between 0 to 1. It can be 0.3, 0.563791, anything. Okay, so it will return you a number from 0 to 1, and we are comparing whether it's greater than 0.5 or not. So for instance, if the number is greater than 0.5, this will return true. So imagine if the number is 0.7569, so then this is greater than 0.5, which means the success will be true. If the success is true, this will get returned. Data will, I am having the data as data fetched successfully, and I am resolving this. Okay, I'm resolving. So I'm telling it is a success. So resolve the promise, like fulfill the promise. Okay. So now imagine if the number was something like 135641 something, it is less than 0.5, which means it is not success. It is false. So this will fail. It will come to the else statement. It will create a new error. I am defining a new error here, and it will reject that error with this message, fail to fetch data. Okay. So this is the thing about defining a promise. Now, once we have defined the promise, you have to run it, like you have to execute it. Like this is just telling you how to fetch data. This won't give you the data directly. So for that, you have to do some this functions. So what it will do is, so now since it is written inside a function, fetch data, I have to call that function. Okay, now this will return me a promise. Okay, so it's a promise. I can have two methods here, .then or .catch. .then is used if the promise for the success state. Okay, if it is resolved, like imagine now it is resolved, then .then defines what to do if the promise is resolved. Okay, and .catch defines like what to do if the promise is rejected or if it throws some error. Okay, So that it does. So fetch data will return a promise. So if the promise is resolved, then dot then will get executed. If it is rejected, then dot catch will get executed. So we'll try this. We'll try to run the code. Clear the terminal. Okay, I will run the code here. And I can run directly. See, it is waiting for 2 seconds because of the set timeout. See, data received, which means the number was greater than 0.5. Now, if I run this again, see error, which means the data was like less than 0.5. That I added just for some randomness, so I may get error again. See, because it is just pure random numbers. So this is how you can do with promise. I know like you won't understand this with this coding example. So I have one analogy for that. Okay. So an analogy. So this is very simple. You try to understand and relate to this. Okay. So just think you and your friend are in a room, like you are in a PG. So your friend you want to have a breakfast. So you tell your friend, you go outside and get me dosa. Okay. So your friend does a promise that he will go outside to the street and he will get you dosa. You can take anything if you don't like dosa. So you go outside and get me a dosa. So he promises you that. Okay. So now, since he went out, he won't get back instantly, right? You have to wait a little. So that's the delay. So imagine your friend went away and it took like around him some 5 minutes to get to the restaurant. So you will be waiting for 5 minutes till your friend call back. Okay. So now what did you tell your friend is like you just go to the restaurant and ask whether they have dosa or not. If they have dosa, tell me, I will set up the table. Okay, so that we can eat. If they don't have dosa, you just tell me you didn't get dosa and tell me I will cook idli. Okay, so that's the simple thing. So I will explain that again. So imagine you are a friend want to have breakfast. So you send your friend to a restaurant and he promises you that he will go to the restaurant and check whether there is dosa or not. And he will call you back asking the manager or someone. So once he goes there, around after 5 minutes, he calls you. Okay. And you told him if the dosa is, he calls you like the dosa is there, which means it is resolved basically. So the promise which he told, he did it, like he brought the dosa. So you set up the table or set up the plates. Okay. Then if he goes and if he doesn't find dosa, then he will tell you he couldn't get it. So what you will do, you will find an alternative and you start cooking for idli. So that's a basic analogy which I can give here. And we can do it in code as well. Okay. So here, if you see the same thing, the same analogy here, I wrote it in code. Okay. So if you see, it's the same syntax here. New promise. Here I am creating a new promise. Get dosa. So it will be either resolved or rejected, this thing. So it will be like it takes 2 parameters, resolve, reject. So now I have put a set timeout because your friend will take some time to go there and tell you whether it's ready, it's there or not. Okay. So imagine he calls after 2 minutes. This is like 1,20,000 milliseconds. So in 1,20,000 milliseconds, he will tell you like whether dosa can be done or not. So now So now we will have one variable called whether he got dosa. Oh, here is a mistake. I forgot to declare the variable type. We'll just change that. Here it should be constant. Okay. Okay. So whether he got dosa, this is a variable, Boolean variable. Now we are doing the same thing. We are finding a random number and checking whether it's greater than 0.5 or less, not. So just to have some randomness so that we can like sometimes he will get dosa, sometimes he won't get dosa. Okay. So now just imagine he went there and he got dosa. Okay. So now he will resolve. He will call you back and tell I got the dosa from the restaurant. Success true. This is just for the APIs thing. Like if you create API, it's better to mention success true. Now I just mentioned for a good practice. Okay. So resolve, this is actually not needed, but so resolve and it tells message that I got the dosa from the restaurant. Okay. So now what will happen when this executes? It will go to the then because it was resolved. It goes to the then. Okay. So here it does console log the message which I sent here. Data is basically this thing. The whatever the content is there inside the solve, it will be passed here, and from that I am taking the message key. So data dot message. So it's a little JavaScript. So what we'll do once you get to this, so I will set up the table. Okay, that is the sequence, like consequence after that. Then imagine this is false. What will happen? It goes to else. So else he calls you and tells I didn't get dosa. So what happens? It will, since it is a reject, it will go to the catch statement. So in catch statement, he will get a, like you will display a error, console.error. You can also do console.log. But what console.error does, it will show you in red color if it is in browser. Okay. So same error, since the data we passed here is error. See the parameter in callback, it's error. So error dot message. So what will the sequence of oh, so I will go quickly. Since he didn't get those. So this is the simple analogy. I tried my best to explain it. So we'll do here this. We'll try to run this. Okay. If I run this, I have one time as 1 second here. If I take 2 minutes, you guys have to 2 minutes to get executed. Okay. He told I didn't get those. So I will cook for a day. Okay. So now if I go up, again if I try, say because it's just random numbers. See, here it goes, we got it. So I will set up the table. So basically just remember what to remember in promises. So if the promise is resolved, it will go to the then statement. Okay. If it is rejected, it will go to the catch statement. Okay. So now this is like how it got resolved. It just to give you more context. Okay, so now it tells, okay, I got dosa, that's why this is resolved. Else it tells I didn't get dosa, so the promise is rejected. It tells more about it. You can have multiple then statements also. There are sometimes in APIs like you have to have multiple then statements because there will be promise after promise. It's called promise chaining. Okay, so that's this thing. So next here, this is just what should we do when it gets resolved? What should we do when it gets error? So now I can do, instead of idli, I can do something else. I can do chapati. It's same thing. See? So this is a simple analogy. I hope you all understood it. The analogy from this. If you have any questions regarding this analogy, I can explain it back. Just put it in the chat box in YouTube. I am seeing that. Okay. Or my team will let me know. So yeah, moving ahead. So you may say, find this familiar, right? This is the same example which we took for callback help. Okay. So this same example is written in promises now. Now we see how easy it is to read. So now I am getting data from server. What to do after getting data from server? Then what to do? Take the data and process the data. After processing the data, then take the processed data and update the UI with the processed data. After the data process is done, then fetch more data. Then taking those data, again process the data. Again, then update the UI. So if anything goes wrong here, just catch. A single catch is enough for all the then statements. Okay. Because if anyone throws the error, it will be catched here. So it will show just an error occurred. So this is how it is when you compare the callback hell, which you see here, with promises. So here I can remove one step easily. I can just crop out this and it will Like if it is configured like it like anything, it will be better. It will work fine. Okay. No need to like manage all the things, check whether everything work like correct or not, all the brackets are missing or not. As simple it can be. Okay, this is what promise. After promise, there's also another concept called async await. Okay. So this async await, async function does this. Async function, async keyword which you put in front of a function. So a function is value, if you know. So what async function does, it will return a promise instead of returning a value. Okay, I can show you here. I have an example, I guess. So what it will does, it will return me a promise. So this promise, and since it is asynchronous, you know, like this will take time. So this is an API, like a publicly available API, which I got from the internet. You can also use this. So this fetching of data will not be instantaneous. Okay, I can show you. Imagine I remove the await keyword here. I will get an error or it will throw something. See, response to JSON is not a function. If I comment it out, it will throw me error. See, data is not defined because, no, not data. If I console log response, see, I'm getting promise as pending, which means this function is returning me a promise. If I do await response, see, it's a completely different story here. I got the response from the API, but it is full, like it tells me the headers, the body, the everything, all the metadata, everything about the API call. Okay, so this, that's why we use await keyword. Await just tells, don't execute the next line or just stop the process, like the execution, like hold it till this returns something. Like if it is in pending, don't move ahead. If it is like rejected or resolved, then only go to the next step. So it tells to await, and this await can only be used under async function. If I remove this async, it will throw me an error. See, await is only valid in async function and the top level of bodies of modules. That's different. Like if you are using a module JavaScript, you can use at top level as well. See, it only VS Code also tells me await expression are only allowed within async functions. Okay, so here, if it is async function, and I will console log the data. Okay, now if I run this, see, I got some data here, which is from this API. It is iPhone 9 and Apple something. So this is just the API which someone created. I can change the number here. I can make it 5. I should get some different product. Say I got some Huawei P30. So this is fetching the API. So what is happening here? Since it's an async function, it will return a promise. It knows. So now this data is getting fetched, and this await keyword is telling, don't execute the next line till it returns something. Now imagine it returned success, which I showed you. This response it will return this, which means it is success. Here it should see status text okay, which means it responds 200. There's something called as HTTP quotes. So if it returns 200, then we are good to go. See, status 200, which means the promise is resolved. It is automatically understood. Okay. So once it is fetched, now this will go to next line. This response, I am converting to JSON. Now, if you see, I just sent response here. It is not that like understandable. It's not that easy to understand. So I'm converting it to JSON. I can show you by console logging both. I'll console log response as well as data. Okay, this is an easy way to console log. See, this is the response which I got. And this is the data which was taken by the response by converting it to JSON. So that's why we convert it to JSON, so that it can be easy to like get something from it. For example, if I want just to get the title, so I can do data dot title. See, as simple as it is. Here I can do 8. I am getting something else. So this is how you use async await instead of promises. Okay. So async await is used mostly because it is more easy to read. So I can just tell this async function, wait till this data is fetched. After this data is fetched, wait till it's converted into JSON, because this is not instantaneous. When the data is converted to JSON, it will take some time. See, now if I just console log data, I'm just getting again pending, because this is again asynchronous function. So I have to put await. Okay, see, if you don't know whether its function is asynchronous, just hover over it. You can see it returns promise. It returns promise. This is basically TypeScript. If it's a colon and after that it's something, then it basically tells what it returns. Okay, here it returns promise. So you have to put the await keyword. So if you go to data, data is any. Now if I remove this, this should be a promise. See, if I put await keyword, now data is any. It can be any data type. So now if I remove the await keyword, the data is promise. That's why what I got here, promise pending state. Okay. Now let's try to reject this. I will remove the S from here. I should get an error. See, type error, fetch date, fetch failed. Error fetching data. This, see, since it was an error here, it got cached here. The error was thrown from here. If you know the try catch concept, the error was thrown from here. It got caught here. So here it console logs error fetching the data and it tells what was the error. See, error fetching data, then it shows type error, fetch failed. Okay. So yeah, this is regarding async await. So I will just get back to that. So now it's correct, working correct. So this is the same. Now, if you see the same example which we wrote in promises, this is the same written in async await. Yeah. So I will wait for some 2 minutes. Yeah. So if you have any question, put it in the YouTube chat. So now if you see here, it is like for async await, again, the main thing I forgot to mention, if you are using async await, you can't do dot catch, which you did in promise, dot catch. So you have to use the try catch block from JavaScript. Okay, try catch or try exception if you use, like it's try catch only, I guess, in Java and Python. Okay, so try catch, again, you have to mention. Otherwise, if I don't mention try catch, just see. If I remove the try catch, what will be the response I will get if it throws an error? See, I got a simple thing, same thing I got, but what will happen? It will break the entire program. If it's a front-end application, it will directly throw the error in the front page if you don't handle the error. So it's always better to handle. Okay, here it's giving some different error only. Capture stack trace. Yeah, you can learn about it. Now it should work fine. See? Okay. So that's why you should mention try catch block. Inside that, what I did, I got data 1 after waiting for get data from server. This data 1 I passed to a function called process data, which returns me process data 1. This process data 1 I passed to a function called update UI. It doesn't return me anything. Okay. Now again data 2 I am fetching. See, this is more easy to read. These two are completely two different things. If we see the promises, you can understand that they both are different, but still again it's come together. So async await is more better way to handle data. Okay. So here, if there is error, it will do console error. Okay. Yeah. So this is about async await. So after this, so now I told asynchronous so many times. But you may think now, since I mentioned in my first slide here, it is synchronous blocking and single threaded. Whatever we did here doesn't make sense like that. Sorry. Okay. So like how asynchronous work? So I can show you it in a simple website. Wait. So before that, let's try some questions. Okay, I'll create a new test.js file. So I will try to execute set timeout. Set timeout function, the same thing which I wrote. Okay, it will return after 2 seconds. I will do console.log hello after 2 seconds. If I run this, okay, I should run it back. It shows me hello after 2 seconds. Okay, so now if I change the set interval, as I told, it will show me hello after 2 seconds, every 2 seconds. See, it keeps on going until I put any condition or anything, or if I just force exit. Okay, so now let me see what to do here. Console.log A. Okay, and here I'll put console.log.b. Simple question, console.log C. Okay, so what will be the output here? Okay, so many people may know this question because it's pretty common and it's common in memes as well. So if I run this, what will happen? First A will get executed, then C will get executed, then after 2 seconds B will get executed. See, even though B was in middle of A and C, the C got executed before B. It was not blocked. If you see here, according to synchronous, it should have blocked it. It's a blocking thing. But still, it waited for 2 seconds. Still, it didn't block the last console log. If I run it any number of times, okay, wait, it's still the same. Okay. So that's the beauty of asynchronous JavaScript. Like once this code if it is waiting, it will wait definitely. Till then, the other code which is below it will get executed. As I told in a previous example, if the 10th line is taking 5 seconds to execute, if it is in asynchronous, if you are written it in asynchronous code, what will happen? It will be waiting separately in the background. Then the other lines will get executed. Once the 100th line got executed, then the 10th line will come and it will get executed. Okay. So that's how it works. So that other people won't be waiting till this thing. Okay. It's basically, now I can give you another analogy. If you are waiting in a bank, so imagine one person is you are 3 people standing in a queue. Okay. So this first person went there and he got his ticket, he came out. Okay. Then the second person, he had some issue with this mobile. Like imagine he forgot his mobile password to just do some UPI. So will he be waiting in the line only? The bank manager will tell you go and stand in the side. Once you figure out your password, then you come back. Till then, I will check the other people in the queue. So what will happen? The third person will go and he will do his transfer or anything. Then after that he is done, he has a lot of time till he finishes. Imagine he finishes after 2 seconds. So he will come 2 minutes. So he'll come back and he will do the transaction. So that's a simple analogy which you can take here. Okay. So yeah. So this thing I showed you in this thing, right? In code. But now we can see it in, I have one website which is JavaScript visualizer. Okay. Okay, let me close it. So here I can visualize whatever code I wrote. I can make it 2 seconds. Edit. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Okay. So now there is a task queue. Okay, if you don't know the JavaScript architecture, wait, I could have drawn it, but it will take some time. I can show if there is any images. Okay, I forgot to take the images from app. Yeah, it's basically something like this. There's a better one. Event loop diagram, maybe. Yeah, I should have saved it. I forgot to save that. Okay, yeah, this is the correct one. So there is something called as all stack, and then here it can be a node APIs or it can be web APIs. Web APIs when you are running it in the browser, okay, or node APIs if you are running in this thing, which thing like Node.js, like in a terminal, which I am doing right now. Okay, so now what happens when this code, since JavaScript is synchronous, it will go one by one, step by step. So this call stack, I will take the functions one by one. So this, the variable assignments, it will be taken in, like there is one called a memory heap. It will be stored there. Okay, the variable assignments. Then the functions will come to call stack. Then it will execute step by step. Okay, first example two, two will be stored in A, 3 will be stored in B. Then it will be calculated. There will be a variable sum which will store 2 plus 3, which is 5. Then the console.log is pushed to the call stack here. Now, since it is synchronous, now this will actually output your total and it will show the sum which is stored in variable. Okay. For example, it can be 5. It is 5. Okay. So total is 5. It will output here. So now, if you see for asynchronous function, what happens is, if there is, for example, if they have any code here, can I show it? Okay, yeah. See, if there is set timeout here, so console.log.start, it will go to call stack, then it will get outputted. Next, set timeout. Set timeout, what happens? Set timeout is a function, so it will go to the call stack. All the function goes to the call stack. Stack is basically it will go one above the other. The function which is called at the last will get popped first. So that's basically the concept of call this thing stack. Okay, so it will come here. Then it will console log the 0 second, like not, it won't console log the callback function. See, since now this is a asynchronous function, what will do? Call stack will get to know, okay, this is asynchronous function. And there are many things below it. So what will do? It will send it to the node APIs or web APIs. So now this function is here in the background. This is basically the waiting area where the asynchronous function will get executed. Okay. So now this function is here waiting here. It comes next. It goes next. Next, this is the set timeout. Again, set timeout. It's again asynchronous function. What call stack does, it sends the callback from here, the callback function which is present here, to node APIs. So now the callback function is waiting here again. Next, it goes to the console log. Console log, it's synchronous, knows it will come here, it will get executed here in the output. Okay. So now what happens? Now there are two functions waiting here. So now if you see, one is for 0 seconds, one is for 0 milliseconds, one is for 2000 milliseconds. So what will happen? The 0 millisecond will get executed. So it will go to the callback queue. Once it got executed, it will go to the queue. Okay, once this waiting room is done, it will be waiting here in the queue. Okay, why queue? Because imagine this program is very big and this asynchronous function got executed in middle of the program. So if it directly puts it into a call stack, the entire program flow will get messed up. So just to avoid that, it goes to the callback queue. Okay, now from the callback queue, there's event loop. What event loop does, it keeps on checking whether the call stack is empty or not. Like the only work of the event loop is to keep on checking whether the call stack is empty. So now if the call stack is empty, what it will do, it will push, like pop one element from the queue and it will put to the stack. Then it will get executed and it will show the output. Again, it will check if call stack is empty. It is empty. Again, it will take another element, it will put here and it will put to the output. Okay. So that's how the entire flow works here. See, now they have given here step by step. See, the console log start, it get put to call stack. Then from the call stack, it got outputted. So then it will go to set timeout function. This function will pass to the node APIs. See, it passed to the node APIs. Then from the node APIs, it is getting executed there. Since it's 0 second, it went to the callback queue. So now see, another function is there. This callback queue can't directly go to call stack because it will mess up the program if we do directly. So the event loop, the work is there if we just check whether it is empty or not. So in the next step, again, it's a asynchronous function. It will go here, it will wait here for 2 seconds. Till then, the end will come here, the console log end, the call stack. It will come, it will output the result here. So now if you see the 2 seconds have passed, there are two what you call callback functions in the callback queue. See, the callback functions are in the callback queue, easy to remember. So this callback queue, once one function is done, it will come here to the call stack, it will get executed. Then the second function will come to the call stack, then it will get executed. Okay. So that's how simple it is. Like for now, you may find it difficult, but if you understand the concept really easily, it like really well, it will be really easy to understand like what is call stack, what is callback queue. Okay. So now the same program I will run here. Okay, I will run. See, if I press next, A got console logged. Okay, wait, I have to go step by step. I pressed auto on. Okay, see, A got executed. Here, if you see the output, there is A. Now, if I press next step, see the timer function. The callback function got put in the task queue. Okay, so now it will go to the callback queue. It is there in like since it was in the call stack, but since it's asynchronous, it will go to the task queue. Okay, so now C got executed because this is waiting for 2 seconds. Then if I press next, a task, after it goes to the call stack because it spent 2 seconds here. It came to the call stack, and you should know like every function should come to the call stack to get executed. Okay. Now if I press next, it got executed. See ACB, the output. Now it's done. Now what may be the answer here if I change it like this? This is another tricky question. Okay. 1 second. Yeah. So here, just can you guess? Can anyone guess the answer here? It's again pretty simple. Okay, so I will see the chart if anyone has answered. Yeah, so it is pretty simple here. What you can do, this will execute like this. First A will get executed. Then since it's asynchronous function, it will go to the callback queue. As it is known, like as I told, because it's asynchronous, they won't see the time. Even if it's 0 millisecond, it will go to the callback queue because it's asynchronous. So then C will get executed. Then after the time is done, like it will be done instantly, it will be still waiting in the callback queue or a task queue. Then it will come to call stack, and then it will get executed. Now if I run this, see ACB, that's the answer. That's a simple thing. Okay, so there is one question in the chart. Are there any advantage of promises over async await or vice versa? So basically, if I say async await is just a sugar-coated syntax for promises. Async await in the background uses promises itself. Okay, so but it makes it easy to read compared to promise. So if we see promise example and async await example, see it minimizes the code very much, and it is really easy to modify and change as well. So many people prefer async await. You can use promises as well. There is not any problem. If you use promises, you have to again do dot then dot then again, because we use to await here. Okay, and then a catch. So instead of that, you can directly do simple like this. So mostly it is for like developer convenience. Like it is just some function on top of promises. In the background, it uses promises only. Okay, so yeah, moving towards it. So this is basically how this entire thing works. Like the call stack where all the function gets executed one by one. Then we have the callback queue where like all the function come, like if there's a synchronous function, it waits in this thing web APIs or node APIs until it's executed. Once it is executed, it comes to the task queue or the callback queue. Then once the call stack is empty, the event loop tells, okay, the call stack is empty. You can come to the call stack from the callback queue. So it comes here, then it gets executed. Okay. So that's the simple thing about asynchronous JavaScript, like how it works in the background. Like it is single threaded, but still it does because of the node APIs or web APIs. So this set timeout and set interval works because of the web APIs. Okay, it executes in the background, then it sends to the single thread JavaScript again. So JavaScript is single threaded only. There is no multi-threading in JavaScript. Okay, so just the how the developers have created those APIs, the web APIs and node APIs. Because of that, we can have asynchronous behavior in single threading. So that's how you can have non-blocking JavaScript code. Okay, so why it is useful? So imagine if I go to any website, take this website only. So till I should see the front end before, like it shouldn't be like I should wait till the data is fetched, then only I can see the page. Okay, so now imagine if the data takes around 5 seconds to fetch, and till then I will have just a blank screen. It's actually a bad user experience. So what we can do, we can actually do the front end, like render the front end first. Then in the background using asynchronous JavaScript, we can like what you call query the database and get the data. Then it will render the UI in the front. Okay, so that's how asynchronous JavaScript work. Yeah, so I guess this was just a small session on like asynchronous JavaScript, on promises, callbacks, and async await, and some asynchronous functions. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can put it here. Yeah, like any concept you want me to repeat or like anything. Yeah, answer that. Yeah, I guess there are. Yeah, I guess we can wrap up this session. That's a question. All right. Yeah. So I guess there are no more any questions. I waited for some time. Why is JavaScript tough? Okay. JavaScript is not actually tough. It just depends on like how you learn. It's like simple to learn actually. JavaScript compared to Python, like it's similar to Python only. Just some behaviors of JavaScript make it little tough. Like there are some like concepts which is difficult to understand. For example, this asynchronous only. It's difficult to understand in one go. So like if you keep on practicing this, it's simple to understand. And JavaScript again, it's same. Like again, there are no data types. That can be another problem because yeah, for that we have TypeScript. It's similar to that, just a superset of JavaScript. So it's not like it is difficult to learn. Okay, wait, there's another question. If you have any function calling another function, but another function inside a chain is an async function. If you have one function calling other function, but one function inside that chain is an async function. You are forced to change every function in that to change async. I guess it is not like that, I guess. Because in React, if you see, if I tell you, give you example of React, Like when you render the page, when you return a JSX file, and if you query the API under it, it will, like, to query the API, you need a sync function. But still, it will be rendered. The function, outside function, will still be rendered, and the page will be shown. Okay. After that, once the data query is done, then it will just update the DOM. That's how it's in React. Like it doesn't affect that much. It will just run in the background. I guess it shouldn't affect the overall function. I guess that's how it means. How to start with JavaScript like any YouTube channel. Yeah, you can, for JavaScript, you can go with the free code camp, or there is some channel called as Web Dev Simplified. He has some good JavaScript content. Okay, I will just put it in the meet chat box. Web Dev Simplified. Yeah. Yeah, I stopped my screen for now. So then we have, was it was mirroring this. Then you can go code with Harry if it is Hindi. I guess it makes me make the sync function that called the sync function also a sync. Yeah, if you have an example, you can share me like either in DMs or somewhere. I will go through that. So yeah, this is overall about. I will share my screen again. This. So this was basically about JavaScript, promising with JavaScript, like the asynchronous behavior of JavaScript. So here we did about, like, first of all, what is JavaScript, just in simple terms. Then callback. Callback is just a function, like a function which is passed in as argument to another function. Then callback help. Promises, again, like it is just a proxies before like any data is like either it's rejected or resolved. So if it is take time, you use promises just to avoid callback help. Then again an analogy for promises. Then we did promise, like how the same example of callback we wrote with promise. Then we have async await, which is just a syntax over promises so that it's easy to understand. So it's just a simple code about async await. Yeah, then we told about this thing. Wait. Yeah, here, like how this thing asynchronous JavaScript works in the background. Okay, so there's a call stack which executes the function. Then we have node APIs, which is basically background for all the asynchronous code. Once the asynchronous code is executed, it goes to a callback queue. And the event loop just keeps on checking whether the callback queue is empty or not. Okay, and the call stack is empty or not. If the call stack is empty, then it will push from callback to the call stack. Then it will get outputted here. Okay, when do we use async function? Okay, a good question. So async function, it is used like on the simple thing I told at the first, like if you see something which will take time. For example, I am getting data from database. Okay, it will take around 2 seconds to get me data. So I don't want my other code, which is down the code below the database, to get stopped till the database is fetched. So what I will do, I will do that in the background. So it will happen asynchronously till when it is happening, the other code will get executed. For example, the page will get rendered. Then after that, the the database once it is fetched, it will come back to the front and the browser re-renders. So for that we can use, or something which will take time. For that we will use asynchronous function, or basically these are asynchronous functions. If you see, I guess I didn't share, like set timeout and set interval. All those are asynchronous function again. Promises are asynchronous. Promises are used to fetch data from APIs or fetch data, query data from database, or like something like that. For that again we use asynchronous functions. So yeah, if you want to like do something in the background, at that time you will be using asynchronous function, so that all the main things, main flow will go of the program will go, and the background data will execute on its own. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. I guess I went to the revision of this as well. Yeah. So I guess we'll wrap up the session. It's already past 5. And yeah, and even the college maintenance people are telling to go out. Yeah, it's been time. So yeah, thank you everyone who joined for the session. If you have any questions now, you can either ping me in LinkedIn or WhatsApp. I will try my best to answer your questions. And if you want to connect to any speakers, you can let me know. And thank you for joining for the DevHost. We completed our 5 talks. I will just like do a small valedictory here only. So the first talk was by Mohammed Shahid. He had 10 years experience in Novigo, and he talked about CRM and Salesforce. The YouTube video will be available in our SOSC channel, maybe by tomorrow. Sankshipt, by tomorrow? Yes. Okay. So by tomorrow we can get like the Salesforce one, and the talk 2 was by Arjun Suvarna. It was regarding DevOps and cloud. He told like how to start with DevOps as a beginner. That also YouTube video will be uploaded by today, because yesterday we were unable to do live stream. So yeah, those 2 videos will be available in YouTube as soon as possible, by tomorrow hopefully. Then the talk 3, which was today morning at 11 a.m., was done by Adib Ahmed. Adib Ahmed, he told about UX and engineering, like how UX affects engineering, like how it matters. And he also told about his story, like how he got into a senior developer role in Novico. And like, yeah, so that video is still available. It's available in YouTube. You can check it. It should be below this video only. It was live streamed today morning. You can check it out. Then the previous session, which was before me, talk 4, was by Swastik. Swastik told about like placements, how to get off campus hiring, how to be in different communities, then how to like write your resume, how you can make it better. So he told many things regarding that. And he also told about different like tech stacks or anything which you can have roadmaps. He guided on that. So that video is available in this video only, which I am doing right now, live stream. If you scroll like 1 hour before or 1.5 hours before, you can find this video from the starting, and that we'll cut and put again as a new video as well. Sankshipt. Yeah, so that will also be done. Then this was the last session of DevOps 2023, which was on asynchronous JavaScript. It is a small session just to tell about like how asynchronous things works in JavaScript. Like it was kind of intermediate level, topic. So yeah, we'll try to get more beginner-friendly JavaScript sessions in future. Yeah, maybe in SOSC offline events or maybe online events like this. So yeah, thank you very much for being here for this entire DevHost and making it a success. Thank you to the entire team who like worked really hard to set up all the template, to set up the YouTube live stream, then to get the posters, the design ready, to promote DevHost everywhere, to get the speakers, to call the speakers. So yeah, that was a really a big team effort which we put. So this ends DevHost 2023 online on a good note, and we will have DevOps 2024 maybe next year on, like, teasing it, hope for tentatively April or May hopefully. So we'll try to have an offline big event with hackathon and other, what do you call this thing. Yeah, so let's see how it goes, DevOps. So this ends our DevOps 2023 right now. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. So we will see you in, like, our future sessions. So yeah, this ends DevOps 2023. Thank you very much and bye bye. Yes. It's the team who are here in the background. I guess it is visible. Sankship, Srajan, Srujan, Triple S, who helped putting this. See how this is how we were live streaming everything. So yeah, this is behind the scenes of whatever happened here. So this session was here. Even Vatsha and Srujal were here. They went in afternoon, sadly. So yeah, so this was all the efforts put forward to, like, for Davos 2023. Yes, so thank you very much again. Last time. Bye bye.